Earth gives off a glow that should not be possible, a signature in your air that a dead world simply cannot fake. And I have watched yours hold it steady for longer than you have had a word for sky. It is the surest proof of life the universe can read from across the dark, and almost nothing out here is standing at the angle to catch it. There are 4 ways the cosmos knows you are alive down there, and the small audience that can see you is about to watch one of them go dark. We begin with the room you did not know you were standing in. 4. You assume the whole sky is watching you. It is a generous assumption. It is also almost entirely wrong. For another world to catch Earth the clean way, to watch your planet drift across the face of your sun and dim it by a sliver, that world has to sit in one exact plane. The thin band of your orbit extended out into the dark. Stand a little above it or a little below, and Earth never crosses anything. You simply are not there. Out of the hundreds of billions of stars in your galaxy, the number lined up at that angle, close enough to notice you, is around 1,400. For every 1,000 stars you can see tonight, the count that can see you back rounds almost exactly to none. Sit with that. Every star you ever wished on, every constellation you named and built a story around, from nearly all of them, no one could ever wish back. You have spent your whole history feeling watched by the heavens, and the heavens, for the most part, were never given the seat. And that narrow band is not even loyal to you. The angle drifts over the long, slow turning of things. Worlds slide into your line and back out of it, taking their one chance to see you and losing it again. Some of your 1,400 are only passing through. The cosmos does not hold the door for you. It opens a crack here and there for a while and then lets it close. But the 1,400 who do have it are not looking at your shadow. They are reading your air, and your air, as you already heard, is doing something it has no business doing. 3. When your sun's light slips through the thin shell of your atmosphere during one of those crossings, it comes out the other side, carrying a list. Every gas it passed through, written into the colors as missing lines, a barcode of your sky, and on that barcode sit 2 names that should never share it. Oxygen-methane. Oxygen alone could be a fluke. Certain dead chemistries fake it for a while. But oxygen sitting beside methane, both refusing to vanish, is a different order of strange. Put them in the same air and they reach for each other and cancel out fast. Within a breath, cosmically speaking, a dead world settles its chemistry and goes still. Yours will not settle. For both lines to stay lit, something down there has to be refilling them, constantly, without pause, for as long as anyone has watched. That is not weather, that is not luck. That is the one signature the cosmos cannot forge, an argument between gases that only the living can keep going. Think about what oxygen even is. It is fierce, hungry stuff. It rusts iron. It feeds every fire you have ever lit. It cannot leave anything alone. By every rule of dead chemistry, it should have bound itself to rock and vanished long ago. That your sky stays full of it means something. Below is pouring it out faster than the planet can drink it back. Your air is not calm. It is a fountain held open by the living every second, without rest. So the few who can see you do not see cities or borders or any of the things you would lead with. They see that your whole planet is breathing. I have watched a handful of worlds reach this, the moment their air first gives them away. Most never knew they had crossed the line. You are crossing it now, and you are arguing about it at the same time. That too is new, and the breathing is only the quiet tell. You also make noise, just not the noise you think you make. 2. You worry about the old broadcast, the first radio, the first television, drifting into the dark with your voices inside them. For decades you have comforted yourselves that your old shows are out there somewhere, an accidental greeting card to the stars. It is a lovely thought. It is also gentle fiction. Those signals spread in every direction at once, and a wave that spreads everywhere thins out fast. Within a few light years, your voices fold back into the hum of your own star. The dark folded your earliest broadcasts away almost as fast as you sent them. No one out here is watching your history. What does cross the distance is the opposite of casual. Tight beams. The enormous radars you point at passing rocks. To be sure they are not coming for you. Focused, Deliberate, megawatts of light fired in a single line, and in checking the dark for danger, you shout your exact position straight down it. To anything standing there, you do not sound like a station playing music. You flash, a sudden blinding pulse out of an otherwise silent planet, here, then gone, then here again, with no rhythm a curious mind could ignore. And here's the part that gives you away completely. Nature does not aim. Stars blaze in every direction at once. A pulsar sweeps the whole sky like a lighthouse, with no one at the switch. But a beam that points, that chooses a single rock, holds it, lets go, and chooses another is not weather either. That is intent. To the right listener, the one unmistakable word in all your noise is not what you said. It is that something down there decided where to point. You are the civilization that leaked its childhood into the dark and assumed someone was listening. They were not. But the moment you started aiming, that they could not miss. And here is the strangest turn of all. That flash, the one clear thing the universe can catch of you, is already going out. 1. For one brief stretch of your history, you were loud. From the middle of your last century, Earth lit up in radio. A planet suddenly shouting into a dark it had only just learned was there. And now you're turning it off. Not on purpose. You moved your voices into glass cables, into tight beams that go straight to satellites and nowhere else, into signals so neatly encrypted that, from outside, they cannot be told apart from no signal at all, from the plain static of an empty world. Every upgrade makes you quieter. You are dimming yourselves back out of the radio sky. There is a quiet irony folded into the method. The better you get at speaking only to the one you mean, the tighter the beam, the cleaner the encryption, the more perfectly your messages come to resemble nothing at all. A well-kept signal and pure silence look identical from the outside. You have spent a century learning to be heard, and the reward for mastering it is to become, once more, indistinguishable from an empty world. And you are doing it in the exact century you finally started to listen. Picture the irony from where I sit. You build ears wide enough to catch a whisper from the far side of the galaxy. You point them outward. You hold your breath and wait for an answer. And in the same handful of decades, you go silent yourselves. You are learning to listen at the precise rate you are learning to disappear. A whole species leaning toward the dark, asking, is anyone there? With its own hand slowly lowering from its mouth. And here is the part I find almost unbearably human. You spent your loud century afraid that being heard was dangerous, that announcing yourself might bring something to your door. And so, without ever deciding to, you have been drawing the announcement back in. Not out of fear exactly, out of growing up. From far enough away, it looks like this. A world that held its silence for billions of years, drew one sharp breath around your year 1970, and is now gently letting it out. I have watched a world go quiet like this once before. I will not tell you how that one ended, not because I am hiding it, but because yours has not happened yet, and I would rather not lay my memory where your choice should go. I will only say the silence that follows is not always the same silence. So this is what Earth looks like to the rest of the universe. Not your cities, not your borders. A faint shadow only a few are placed to see. An atmosphere caught in an argument that only life could sustain. And a single bright flash already softening in a sky that mostly is not looking. It would be easy to hear all that and feel small. Do not. A world that breathes a paradox into the dark, that learned to aim its light on purpose, that began listening at the very moment it learned to whisper. That is not a small thing. That is a young one. A young thing is not a lesser thing. It is the only kind that still gets to decide what it becomes. The flash was you calling out before you knew the shape of the room. The quiet that follows is you learning to choose your words. I have a great deal of sky behind me, and I have seen far louder things go dark for good. You are not one of them. Not yet. I think you are only just getting started. I will be reading.